Hey guys, this is a roaming prepper. Today I'm making some field visits and doing some work out on the road, if you will. I'm learning stuff about my new digs, my new environment, and I'm going to share some of that with you. I'll be right back. Okay, so this environment goes from a very flat plain to rolling hills, and off there in the distance you can probably see the much touted Texas wind turbines, all of which are not moving except for one. To be fair, there's a pile of them that are moving further out. You can't see them. And of course the oil and gas pump jack, which is kind of a contradiction there. But I guess all of the above energy. But look at this environment real quick. You're going to notice a lot of scrub brush, a lot of mid-sized mesquite type trees, but the ground is super hard. And I'd spent the last 15 years living in a bayou environment, and you look at this ground, and granted this is kind of flattened out, but even here, if I were to take a stick and kind of dig in, well, actually, it's a bit softer than I was expecting. It's really dark, kind of loamy. So I could have some challenges depending on where I am in this environment trying to dig. If it's just the sandy soil, I might be okay. But if I had to make an emergency shelter, because as you can see, there is no shelter out here, having to dig in that brush would be a challenge. So I'm thinking I may need to add an entrenching tool to my truck, just in case something like that happens. So I'm going to go down the road and see what we would do for water sources out here. Now guys, we're not 8 to 10 miles from where I was earlier, and you can see I've gone from this very rocky terrain to very flat terrain. Again, very limited shelter options. But now we're in an agricultural area. This is a fallow field, but they're plowing over here. When you get in proximity of farms or livestock, you're going to start finding water sources that may be potable. Keep in mind, you're also going to see industrial type tanks like that one. And that one's marked oil, so it's pretty obvious. It's a hydrocarbon. But, woo, that boy's moving. You're going to also start running into situations where you're going to see tanks that are listed as water. You don't necessarily want to drink from them. Just because it's listed as water does not mean that it's potable. So what you want to do is look for sources such as water dispensers for livestock. You can also look for pump wells if there are any of those. Some of the tanks may be listed potable. You can also go to the farmers themselves, the ranchers. Keep in mind, if you're just broken down and it's normal times, it's not a big deal. But if there's a shit hit the fan or there's some kind of grid down and everybody's in that emergency mode, you don't want to sneak onto someone's property to get water. Places like Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, heck, Montana, Wyoming, take most of the country, are not going to react well. Now, plowed fields make it very easy to dig a shelter if you need to get out of wind and rain. But rolling back to the water sources, when you get into an area that's more agrarian, when you get into an area that has plowed fields, that has livestock, that means they have to have some kind of potable water that you should be able to filter and make use of. Whereas the non-potable water that you'll find in a commercial tank or like a frack pit or some kind of industrial pit, you don't want to mess with that as much, because you stand a distinct possibility of having chemicals that you cannot filter using a hand filter. You'd have to do some more advanced reverse osmosis type stuff for that, and that may not even do it. You need an industrial filtration. So pick your water sources carefully, but notice them while you're on the road. I mean, you can see here, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I know there's a town that way about 10 miles. So, and I was over there. So more than likely, if I broke down right this second, I'd put my pack on, you know, pour all my water bottles into my bug out bags container, and I've got a 10-mile walk, and at, you know, say 2-3 miles an hour on the side of the road, I got a 3-hour walk in very dry conditions, and I'm in the open. So if it decides to rain on me, which looks like it may, I'm going to pay for that. So just a few things to consider when you're on the road and you're traveling through country or remote locations. Again, this is not where I lived for the last 15 to 17 years, so, or actually the last 20 something years. So yeah, learning as I go. Let's move on. Well, I'm learning a lot of interesting lessons about this new area I live in. As I mentioned in other videos, and I will mention again, no doubt, water availability is going to be the biggest one. And not just, oh, find water to filter, is finding the damn water in the first place. That being said, I'm enjoying these my field ops visits because it gives me an opportunity to kind of look at the terrain, not just in my neighborhood, but also, you know, an hour in each direction. So I know an hour south is literally plateaus and mesas and a lot of dry hunting territory. Actually good deer, if you're into that. I wind up usually cooking because I'm the company guy, so I gotta work. The clients are the ones who shoot. But keep in mind, you need to do research. You go somewhere new, we have technology now, Google Map, and do a Google Street View. You can even reach out to a hotel or anything in your area, find out what's in the area, what isn't, what's the lay of the land, what's the terrain. You can pretty much look up anything at this point, so there's no reason not to use this as part of your preps when you gather intelligence to a new area. We did some research here, but it was all hypothetical. Now I'm actually practicing it. I hope that was helpful. Something else to think of. This is the Roaming Prepper signing out. If you're on the road like I am today, Godspeed. And to everyone else, be safe, pay attention, be ready, and if you can, help someone out. Be good.